What's going on, everyone? Talen here, and welcome to another Marvel Future Fight video. Alright, so in this one here, we're going to be taking Storm in against Galactus. So yes, I did tier 3 her, so let's go ahead and take a look at my build on Storm here, and then we'll hop into the gameplay. So I just have 2 ignore defense Urus on her just to get her capped out. Besides that, she's not sitting with any others, so I'll fill that in a little bit later. For her skills, I have all of her skills fully leveled up. I haven't done anything with her. Oh, I've got type 2 type enhancement, so I just did the first stage. For our ice weight set, we have Power of Angry Hulk, a stage 6, and then for her custom gear here, we just have a standard obelisk. It is a lightning damage crit rate 180 proc. Lightning damage works quite well for her because her tier 3 does lightning damage, and then she has 2 other skills. Is it 2 other skills? Yeah, 2 other skills that do lightning damage. The other ones are cold damage, so I'm not really getting anything for those, but the 5th skill and the 1st skill are actually some of her more damaging skills anyway, so lightning damage I think is going to be the better of the 2 options if you have to choose between cold or lightning, that is. Yeah, so that's what she's doing there. For her uniform, we still just have it at rare, so I haven't gotten any more biometrics for her, so I'll have to keep farming those up and finish up the uniform. So yeah, she's looking pretty good so far. Can I click on the details? Thank you. I clicked on it like 4 times, it felt like. So we have her crit rate there at 50%, but that will be maxed after she uses her 3rd skill, I think it is. And then crit damage is pretty low. We have ignore defense skill cooldown and our attack speed all maxed, so she's looking pretty good there. And it was the 3rd skill, right? Gives her a crit rate. Yeah, 30% crit rate, so she will be maxed out there. So I probably just need to focus on crit damage and then just regular energy attack when I'm using the Uru on her, because besides that, everything else is looking pretty good. So yeah, let's go ahead and hop into the clip against Galactus and see how Storm actually did. Alright, so here we are loading into Galactus. We've got 2 random teammates here, one with a tier 3 Star-Lord, one with a tier 3 Cyclops. And based off of the other 2 characters that they're using, I'm not really expecting them to do too much, but that is fine because we're here for Storm. So for Storm, I pretty much just spam her skills right now. I haven't really gotten a set skill rotation that I like. I just kind of like using the skills as they... Oh, someone left early. I don't remember that when I was recording this clip. Wow, that guy already left. Okay, well anyway, we're already down 1. But anyway, I just use kind of whatever skills when they come off of cooldown, but I mainly try to always have the 4th skill and 3rd skill active because those give you your all defense down and then your resistance down. Not that that matters here against Galactus, but those are the skills that you want to keep up as often as possible. And then of course your 1st skill has the Paralyze, which is going to be really good when you're playing her in War Boss Ultimate because you know she is very slow, so everything you can do to crowd control the boss is going to be much needed for Storm here. But if you're trying to do a skill rotation, the one that I think would work best for her is do the 4th skill. You wait for kind of the little explosion that you get after the iframe, because that means that the skill effects or that hail is going to start raining down, and then you go into the 3rd skill, instantly cancel that and go into the 5th skill, so you get the effects from the 4th and the 3rd skill with the proc on the 5th skill. And of course you use the 1st skill whenever it's off of cooldown just to get that CC, and if you can throw in the 2nd skill then you can do that, but the 2nd skill can trigger your obelisk a little bit early if you do have a standard damage proc on Storm. So that's why I find she's just a little difficult to play with a damage proc if you're trying to kind of stick to a certain rotation. But even with a damage proc and not having a very smooth rotation that you can consistently use for her, she still does really, really good damage. And right here, as you can see, her tier 3 skill hits very hard. It's a short animation, but it makes the bars melt. So her tier 3 is, yeah, very powerful. So definitely one of her better skills. So if you want to use Storm to the max potential, you're going to need that tier 3 skill because that's going to be a bulk of her damage. And before using the tier 3 skill, if you're in a fight, of course, where it applies, like War Boss Ultimate and that, because you can't apply debuffs here, you're going to do the 3rd and 4th skill, have those active, so you get the all defense down and get that resistance down, and then hop into the tier 3, and you will see a lot of damage in War Boss Ultimate. So overall, I've really been liking Storm, even though I pretty much just spam her skills. So yeah, I just pretty much spam them mainly to keep her alive as well. So you're going to use that first skill, like I said, whenever it's off of cooldown. And then you can use that iframe on the 4th skill because it's at the start of it. And then you get that guard hit from the 3rd skill, and of course some damage immunity on the 5th skill. So overall, she has a pretty solid kit there. It's just still a little bit difficult to keep her alive, at least in War Boss Ultimate, I find, without using a debuff lead. So you're probably going to want to use Dr. Voodoo or Enchantress with the uniform, or White Fox lead, because you want to get that extra time on the paralysis from the first skill, because that actually does make a pretty big difference in terms of crowd controlling the boss to help her with her survivability. Besides that, it does of course help with our other skills for the all defense down, the resistance down. So in terms of just pure damage, she also does more damage with a debuff lead opposed to just a standard damage lead. And of course, since Galactus is immune to the debuffs, that's why we're just using Ancient One lead here. Decided Ancient One with the elemental boost from his passive there would be good. And then well, of course we have Coulson there just because of his tier 2 support, which we don't really need that guaranteed crit now that I think about it, because she is maxed out after using the 3rd skill. But look at that damage from the tier 3 skill. It's so nice. So I wasn't really expecting this much, I guess, damage from tier 3 Storm based off of what I was seeing from her at tier 2, because at tier 2 she was doing good damage, but it wasn't anything spectacular. So when I got her to tier 3, I was like, alright, I'm just gonna have another average blast character, but that tier 3 skill hits really hard, so I was quite happy with that surprise there. So overall, Storm is looking like a very solid 600 CCF option for a tier 3 character. You know, like I said, the only thing you need to kind of be careful of is just her survivability is a little bit low. Besides that, her damage is good, and also she is still very, I don't know, what am I looking for? Very good to play, even with just a standard obelisk, even though, like I said, I'm not necessarily proccing very consistently on any one skill, except for the tier 3 skill. Of course, you can line that up, so whenever the tier 3 skill is available, definitely gonna line up the proc on that. But in terms of just her regular damage rotation, I'm not really worrying too much about the proc timing. I'm just worrying about what skills are off of cooldown and then using those skills as I see fit to keep her alive. But if you have a skill cooldown that seems to work consistently for you in World Boss Ultimate and still is able to keep her alive, feel free to let me know, because I haven't played around with her a ton. That's just what I've been noticing from the few fights I've done with Storm here, because I definitely haven't put a ton of time into it to really see what kind of skill rotation is going to work best for her. I've just found that I survive more often when I just spam the skills when they're off of cooldown, in terms of lining up the iframe, the guard hit, and then the immunity. And are we the last one? Yeah, we are the last one here. Why? Look at that. There's just the random Doctor Strange there just happening over the dead body, it looks like. That was interesting. I don't think I've seen that before. Or is the AI controlling your characters? Is one of the AI still alive? No, it looks like they're all dead here. Oh, is he doing the Rasengan orbs there? Yes, he is. So I definitely need to avoid those. But look at those animations. I really love the animations that Storm has. Just like the blizzard effects that she creates. The hail raining down. You get the like snow screen across the screen there. So yeah, it's looking pretty good. And what do we have? Like 3 minutes left. So let's see what we get here for this tier 3 skill. Look at that. It's winding up and boom, get that damage. Really nice. And yeah, so that's the kind of the rotation that I like to use actually though, is just do the 4-3 and then I just do the first skill and maybe kite around a little bit and go into the 5th skill when I really need it. If my obelisk hasn't procced yet, then I jump into the 5th skill right away to try to get that proc. And for Galactus here, you don't necessarily need to keep using the first skill a lot, but the first skill does actually do a pretty good chunk of damage if you accidentally or line up the proc on the first skill. So I guess you could actually time yourself to proc on the first skill, because it does hit pretty hard. Even though it's a very short animation, I still notice a good spike in damage if my obelisk activates or procs when I'm using the first skill. So that's something to keep in mind. So So maybe I can try that out a little bit to be more consistent with proccing maybe on the first skill while I still have all of those other effects going on from the third and the fourth skill. And he's stalling as much as he can. He has 3 bars left. He just doesn't want to go down. He's going to keep doing these unblockable attacks, trying to catch me off guard. I don't think so. It's tier 3 time. I think this will finish him off, won't it? We do a little more than 3 bars with our tier 3. Well, we did about 3 bars with our tier 3. But yeah, look at that. Storm doing really good there because it was just us for a majority of that fight. So that's pretty much a solo, yeah. Did 88% of the damage. Took her 8 minutes. So we still had 2 minutes left. 67, almost 68 million damage. So yeah, Storm looking very powerful. And that was just with the regular Obelisk. I'm curious to see how well she'll do with a CTP of Judgment or a CTP of Rage when I don't have to kind of think about her rotation, even though, like I said, I don't really bother with it, but still, just having that activated and get all that extra damage, I'm kind of curious what kind of numbers we'll see. So let me know in the comments below. If we get enough people that say they want me to try it, I will put either a Rage or Judgment on her. So if we get enough people, just comment below, say Rage or say Judgment, and if I see enough of one or the other, then I will go ahead and do that. So I'll take a Rage off of somebody, and then I'll take a Judgment off of Iceman, because Iceman's the only one right now that has a Judgment that I don't care too much about. I might take my Rage off of Rogue. I still have a CTP of Rage on Rogue. Maybe I should revisit her and see how she does with that CTP of Rage now, see if she's kind of fallen off a little bit, because I really liked her when I first put it on, but I haven't played with her in a while, so... yeah, I need to see how strong she actually is again. But anyway, that's going to be it for this video here. Hopefully you enjoyed, and of course I will catch you in the next one.